mountain rivers,
Mhm.
leaving oceans of dreams. Like rain, I am the cradle to her life. I want to be the poem she reads, and then breathe the sounds of her. It's been a while since I've tasted beautiful. Arousing earth tones, she be black coffee in my mornings. Her essence flows through me. I tell her she's that preview to my pain, whom we love hard. Have you ever felt black rain? I can never let her go. She tells me the same when she says, I'm your fiend, dark man. She's off the chain. Called me the Mackin game. I'm just hungry for her love. I show her. We all flow differently. Some of us flow rhymes and call it therapy. She said my words have waves, so I took out my pen like she asked me. She said, write into me and make it nasty. Now she knows I would read her. It felt good discovering myself. True story, this past forgotten, these ancient memories feeding my soul. I wanted more, and she was giving. Inviting me like home, she shared her emotions, leaving echoes on wall paintings. I spoke her name. She's dark girl magic. It wasn't her appearance I fell into, thinking this what makes me. She was that dare I needed, I had to. She spoke her mind, and I don't mind the inner beauty moves me. I could taste the hunger. After all she's temptation, if only she knew, dark girl, I'll be loving you like a blind man would do. Every line curves too while painting my imagination. You see, I close my eyes when I hold you, my wanting embrace, discovering the goddess of my temptation. Let me caress you in anticipation. Know this, as I trace you to wet, picture this silhouette, matching every part of you, like the wind finger painting my affection, your body becoming my canvas, from thought to perfection, as I love the skin you're in. Thank you.
Right.
Wow, thank you so
Yes.
much. That was beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I
So,
told y'all.
uh,
Dark girl magic. I am in love. Yes.
thank
Yes.
you. Thank you. I will be featuring at SWAM on September the 20th. So if you'd like to hear more, all you folks there in Los Angeles, come out to that event. You know, it starts at 8. It's in Leimert Park at the Barbara Morris Performing Art Theater. I will be there sharing some new stuff that they have never heard from my next book that's coming out, which is called Dark Man Blues, If Life Were a Movie. And
Okay.
that's a limited edition book. It will not be sold on Amazon. I'll be pre-selling orders at SWAM that night of that book, and it's only going to be 90 copies ever printed of that book. So that's it.
Thank you
Okay.
so much,
Wow.
Sharon. Do you mind putting, do you know how to use the chat?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you put that information in the chat and put your Instagram and any information you want to put, like if you have a flyer too, you can upload
Yes,
that to the
I do have flyers on my Instagram page, which is complicated
Okay.
underscore passions, and same thing on TikTok and on Facebook. I'm Samuel Rain, so I have posted flyers, but I will share all of my connections in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great. If you even just put your Instagram name, that would be super helpful. I think that's like the advantage that we have when we're on Zoom too, is people be announcing their Instagram after an in-person open mic, and I'm like, I didn't get that. I did not get that. The amount of people could have followed me, but you know, we are here to be connecting that much more deeper. It's not about, you know, far and wide, but when you connect with each other through poetry, it's a different type of follow. Am I right? I think so.
Indeed.
Thank you for sharing your work and your soul with us.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Monica, may I share something?
Yes.
Samuel Rain, Albert Starr, and myself got an upcoming performance, Gray Beard. So it's not, we don't have the date yet, but it's coming up. So keep your ear out into the, you know.
The ether.
The ether, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's it called?
Gray beard.
The Graybeards of Poetry. We travel all over.
The gray beards?
The
Gray
Graybeards of Poetry. You must have a
You're saying
gray beard.
you're
You must have a gray beard to be that. And then, but we do travel all over the country. Daryl's probably not going to tell it, but I'm going to tell it. We're going to be in North Carolina shooting a documentary for the Graybeards of Poetry in November.
Oh,
What?
wow.
This is crazy.
Awesome.
Awesome. Woo, woo.
That's
I love
incredible. This is what we need to hear. We need to hear that poetry has places to go and can be beneficial in ways we can't even imagine. So thank you for telling us that. That is such a beautiful opportunity, and we are so proud of you, and we look up to you. So don't forget about us.
So if anybody want to help me drive to North Carolina, just let me know.
He's flying. He's flying. He's kidding. He's flying.
You got this. You're young and thriving. Okay, we have 20 participants now. We would love if anybody just tuned in to write your name in the chat, and we'll have you up on the mic in no time. But I don't know if 20 people are actually going to go up. I think we just have an audience. So, but if you have the courage, we would love to hear you. Up next on the mic is Jessica, our very own host and creator of Los Angeles Poet Society. Jessica Wilson.
Hey, hello. Isn't Monica doing a fabulous job? Y'all give her some love, give her some snaps.
Ooh, all right.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Monica.
Thank you.
Let's go, let's go. I just want to say I'm really excited to have you as one of our hosts, and thank you for getting the torch of the One Mic, One Globe and keeping this baby alive and bringing all your network and everybody here with you. It's so exciting to see 21 people in the room. I'm just like telling Juan, I'm like, because it was dwindling, and I'm just so happy. So yay! It's
Happy.
all the magic in the room. So I'm the first poem. I'll do the round robin. So the one I want to share first here is a poem I wrote right here. A lot of Sundays, Monica and I do poetry on demand over at Melrose Trading Post. And when it gets, and basically that's where we just write a poem on the spot for, custom poem for somebody. And when it's slow, sometimes I write a poem for myself, right? So this one is actually about a bee. Like I had a stretch break, and then I walk around my table, and then I see this bee on my table. So here we go. A bee was dying on my table, squirming, barely fluttering. I tried very hard to not witness the dying of a living being, so I must truly wonder why a bee was placed on my mantle. A soft hue that mirrored its own texture and gentle creaminess. Instead of witnessing the dying, I decided to let it return to the natural. A bed of grass, a familiar bed to slumber the last breath, this life. And a hopeful nourishment back to the bodies that also find home on Mother Earth, the moisture and the shade of grass. I lean into the future in knowing that my tendencies always go to preserve life and serve life. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Jessica. Jessica, do you have one more poem for us? Because I feel like you deserve to
Yes.
get more poetry.
I got my peace poem. I don't know if you got to hear that.
Yes.
I've been touring that one around, and actually Jesse Tovar with his literary journal, he's gonna publish it. I'm so happy about that. So this is it's called Peace is Spoken Here, and I always did it well. It's dedicated to all the humans in the room.
All the humans.
All the humans.
All the humans.
All right. So usually I ask folks to like recite the line Peace is Spoken Here, but since we're on Zoom, like that might sound like and so we just don't do that. But maybe in your head, maybe just be like, Peace is spoken here. Okay. It's called Peace is Spoken Here. Peace is spoken here. Peace is spoken here. The language of unity the language of my veins, the heart beating beneath the flesh that matches the beat that lives within you. Peace is spoken here. From every arm that raises up in fear and every arm that raises up with resistance, it is the same arm that clings so well into mine as an ally, as a sister, as a human. Peace is spoken here. There's a place inside all of us that sparks only of light, the urgency of breath and blood, a piece of us that fits tightly inside, that secures dreams and hopes, where everyone matters and everyone is seen and honored as the living being they are. Peace is spoken here. The tongue that ties is the same tongue that unwinds from side to side between my cheeks, behind my teeth, a tongue that lends itself to the voice of justice. Peace is spoken here. It knows no boundary, only a song of earth. The vibration will echo infinitely into the unknown, outward and upward until it is heard at last and understood that peace is spoken here, and that peace is spoken here, and that peace is spoken here and holds no boundaries, only for all those humans that hold time to hear the message. Peace is spoken here.
Woo! Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you for having me as the host. I'm always, how can I be of service? I think that we would have a better world if we had that mentality. Yes, okay, so I do have more people that have arrived that would like to sign up for the mic, so I'll write your name down. So I appreciate you being here. But because we have I was gonna mix the features in throughout the open mic, but we'll have the features at the very end, and just go off of the list from the people who just showed up to recite for the open mic. So thank you for coming. There is someone who wrote their name, but I don't know if I can pronounce it. So I'll do my very best. We have up next to the mic, Jake Lang. If you can unmute yourself, people forget to unmute themselves.
Yeah, here I come. Sorry, I thought there was a couple people before me.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. This is
Sorry.
thanks for having me, by the way. These are really great poems. I'm so glad to hear them. This one is called They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Oh, yes. Every hour on the hour, and each weekend without wincing, whinnying, cringing, rinsing, like waterfowl flopping off waterfalls. Leave her alone, ladies just looking. Lovely leads to trouble. Playing at the parts that weren't written, about 50 petty 8-1 ways, besties part ways, turning state's evidence, bringing words out of birdsong, so many hurt brains making noise, spoiling all the balm in Gilead. I just want to drive around and smoke cigarettes. Meaning gets mixed up and whirs with something else. Innumerable rhythms coalesce, gnawing on the thought of granite, rugged Drex, and Rome's boy wonder, alongside an adamant neighbor needing scrupulous records and fatted calves, Elmore and Esther, and God, who's a bad motherfucker. Big breath. The fish witch spoke to the prairie witch, unrattling me from my mandible, darning me in my sternum and my heart in a thicket. Christ, you got to learn to forgive yourself. You didn't erase Jesus or ruin jazz. The sun still staples glitzy horizons along patchy edges of silence and rare flaring skies. I ruined the flicker and dint of these sentences, the glittering confusion, unspooling squalor. The dust comes up, and by dust we bleat and remind ourselves to breathe, while exhausted children sigh and humorless teens seethe. You're too reserved, and I'm too stupid to talk to. Dealer's choice, second banana, a barefoot friend with a snowy voice. If you see my great aunt, ask him to dance. Liven the hibiscus and the meniscus and mark the inflorescence. Wind is weird, it bites through so much. Can't get no satisfaction drinking the sea, nor looking at the sun. I'm finding relief in the switchbacks of your verse, the mazy razor of your vowels coming in on one wing from the corners of your mouth. You're a card with no card, gentle as a meadow, vimming to the brim full of brio, thrilled to hit the beach, Malibu, Normandy, Big Sur, Manhattan. The shore hisses each gnashed evening, and the sun usually sinks its cracked tooth crisis teeth into it, searing serenely, nearby, far away, awfully kindly, happens all the time, rarely. Infectiously genuine and hideously lonely. How heartbroken is too heartbroken. If I was a horse, I'd like to be the one in the westerns that has a rider shot off the back of me, galloping off screen, finally, suddenly released from all remaining staging.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank
That
you.
was beautiful. Snaps. If anyone wants to comment and unmute themselves to like show
That
some
was
love.
dope. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
Lovely. Really wonderful.
Heard some alliteration in there, and I liked the S's. Was nice. Beautiful poem.
I loved it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing and showing up to the Zoom. Your words are needed, and we appreciate you being here. And also, we will be, advertising it and putting out a different flyer. It's going to be once a month. So if you want to share it to your page just to help promote it and keep it alive, that would be amazing. And thanks for everybody who just is here to listen. We appreciate you being here. We have up next to the mic. I'm so sorry. I'm just learning how to do all of this. It's more than I thought, but it's actually good. But I skipped somebody, so my apologies. Aldo Sanchez is up next to the mic. If we can please give him a round, show some love
Hello, hello.
for being here. Oh, you! Just again. Resistencia. Mi amor.
It's okay,
Welcome.
it's okay. It happens.
You are very remembered. All right.
Thank you, girls. Thank you all for having me. It's a pleasure to see you all again. Robin, nice to see you. I'm glad that you are a feature on this. All right, I'm gonna start. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, I call this one I Recall, in the spirit of amor. I close my eyes and recall the time we danced and held each other close, unraveling our very essence upon each other, exploring our scent, exploring our touch, exploring our lips, exploring our galaxies, exploring. I yearn to feel that again and again and again, holding you tight, intertwined like two trees together, holding you close. With every breath, with every heartbeat, close, 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 closer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. Not me crying. I'm just not really. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I can't believe I skipped you. Let's show some love. If you feel like you want to just unmute yourself and say some good words, please do. Also, you can type it in the chat. Say I love this, snaps, whatever you feel compelled to.
It was dope. It was dope. Dope.
Thank you, thank you.
Subject matter. sliding through.
Quick, Monica, I just want to say Aldo's poetry always makes me, it brings out the romantic in me.
I know.
He's always the romance.
If you just want to stay in the state of in love, just listen to poetry all the time. And
Yes. Gracias, amigo Robin. Thank you. Thank you for everybody for listening.
Okay, up next we have to the mic, Willie June Lang. I believe I'm saying this right.
You know me as Frank, Willie June Landers.
Frank,
Hey,
Frank,
what's up?
my uncle.
How you doing?
What's up, Willie Joe?
All right.
Did you shrink?
Yeah. Now,
Did you shrink?
this poem I wrote after listening to my CLI 11 alumni people, my colleagues there. They kind of ticked me off. They keep asking for more information. We want to know about this. We want to know about that. So I wrote this poem. It's called, Well, Who Am I Writing For? Everybody ready?
Ready. All right, Frank.
Okay. As I leave an open mic, I think about you, poetry, the way you affect people, delivering a plethora of happiness and joy, revealing tumultuous fears and tears. I began this journey for pleasure, but you caused one to introspect. You rip back coagulated blood-mixed scabs that cover pus-infected hurt and pain. I don't want to disclose full truths, but you keep revealing my hiding places. You tend to bother the conscience. Conscience don't bother me, and I sure the fuck won't bother you. Conscience, stay out of this shit. I learned you don't have to publicize everything you put on paper, but not giving the public everything. Is there a deception in play? I think not. It's not misleading, but time and time again, the public asks me for more details. I myself love a good mystery or cliffhanger. Well, who am I writing for? What defines a successful poet or poem? I don't want to wrestle with you, poetry. You revered phenomena of the literary world. You demand succinctness and clarity. Your wants for revision are never ending. You dare unfairly pierce into my past and soul. Poetry, what exactly do you want? What exactly do I need to do? Do I sparingly use my lexicon? Do I unleash a voluminous esoteric vocabulary? Do I risk the appearance of pomposity? Do I use vulgarity I haven't used in decades? Audiences ranging from Ivy Leaguers to pimps, ganklers, hustlers, and players all have an appreciation of equivalencies. I faced many trials and dangers, got nicked and bruised, but you try to make me cringe at your intimidation. Poetry, you are demanding style, rhythm, and substance. You mandate metaphor, simile, ions, and meters. Most of all, truth, not half-truths. You never settle for misleading innuendos. You interrogate like shrewd detectives, forcefully, without Miranda warnings. You cross-examine like seasoned prosecutors, not allowing objections or taking the fifth. You badger and browbeat to get the truth. Eventually, I may decide to give it to you, but the truth is very precious to me, so I believe in being economical with it. Must I, as a poet, give up the truth? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Frank.
That was dope, brother.
Frank,
Yeah.
sorry.
Woo woo.
Willie June. Can you say your stage name again?
Willie June Landers.
Willie June Landers. I feel like
Willie June. Willie June in the house.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What was that line? No, you don't have to publicize everything.
Oh, back over here?
Yeah. Give us a sec. I need to hear that line.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. They say, I learned you don't have to publicize everything you put on paper. Is that what the one you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then what else does it say?
Oh, you want the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I learned you don't have to publicize everything you put on paper, but not giving the public everything. Is there a deception in play? I think not, if not misleading. But time and time again, the public asks me for more details.
Mm. Wow. Well, you are safe to give your details here. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
It is such a vulnerable medium, and
Poetry, yeah.
more than ever, it's needed. So thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so up next to the mic, we have Kat. Is Kat here? Or Kate? If not, we can just move on. Pam, do you want to go on the mic? She's gonna yell at me. We also have Caesar Y. Do you want to come on the mic? I know that you clocked in late. If you want to come on, please type in the chat your name. But up next we have your name is Chiknuai. I can't say your name. I'm so sorry. If you know who you are, then please unmute yourself because you're next on the mic.
They could raise their hands if they want to do
Yeah.
poem.
I'm gonna try to
in the reaction.
Chiknawi?
Chiknawi.
Chiknawi.
I really don't want to slaughter that. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having this space available for us to come and be here. Oh, Jesus. So I've been investing some of my my free time in learning what Chiknawi means. And this next poem comes from this recent class I've been taking about a song that the culture that gave Chiknawi to me. Okay, I'm getting lost in thought here. Let's see. So the name of this one is called Chikomosto Nimikitilitzli, and I might be murdering that too. So it starts off like this.
Which language is it?
It's known as a Masewal Tlatoli.
Wow, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. I am inside a room. I am a student. I am an outcast. The students mock me. I am fidgeting. I begin to muscle, strengthen my abs. The instructor confidently proposes. We begin to know each other intimately. I say no. She continues her proposition, and now, with seduction, I say yes. She confidently indulges her presence in this space. I began caressing her toes with my fingers. She enjoys our intimate activity with a converse. I began to caress her thighs. She continues her confident converse. Now I observe from her voice, she is distant. She begins to laugh. I stop, caressing her. She is not here. I am scared. I observe the thighs of a person. I am confused. I observe her attending to a younger girl than her. I am confident the younger girl is her daughter. She, the instructor, is loud and frantic about my participation and demands I continue. Caressing the younger than her girl. The girl awakens. The room has a window and two people who are Chinese women begin photographing our drama. I want to leave. She, the instructor, is confident about not being a victim to our drama. I follow her. She, the instructor, is confident, moving things inside the room. Some of the things, the items, are my clothes. She, the instructor, opens the door. We are now walking outside. We are walking through the middle of the road. She is confidently talking about not worrying about myself. She gives me a rolled heavyweight amount of American dollars. She suggests I concentrate on my happiness and disappears. Oh, wow. I wasn't ready to share that one, I think. Maybe I should have gone with the one that I wrote for me introducing my name and like
Too
why I
late.
even
It's
came up
too
with
late.
that.
No, you already shared. So thank you for sharing. We hold space for
All
it.
right.
Great job. That was beautiful. That was really beautiful. We appreciate your vulnerability and showing up and listening in, and you know, it doesn't you're safe. You're behind the screen. So we only show love here. So thank you for sharing.
All right.
Yes, it was really beautiful. If anyone wants to comment, show some love. This is really hard when you go up and you share something and you
Yeah.
show your soul. We got to show support for that because
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Well, I want to thank for his sharing such a vulnerable experience. I thought it was really, really touching.
Thank you,
I
Frank.
found,
Yeah, good
I,
stuff, man.
I
One thing
found
you
it
gotta, one thing you gotta
very
understand is
inspirational.
you're just sharing. You gotta just hear it sometimes, even if you don't like it. You gotta hear it and see how it goes.
Yeah,
Hold
the
on.
emotions I had when I heard it, it was like I was only hearing my own emotion, but now I'm thinking like, wow, the emotion I'm sharing when I read it is like it's more judgmental on myself. Like I'm criticizing everything that I wrote a lot worse.
You're a
So,
writer. That happens.
one of the things that a friend actually recently told me, he said, is when you write the poem first, it's for yourself, but then when you're done writing it, it's for everyone else. So someone else in this room needed to hear that to feel like, oh, they're not crazy, or they're less alone, or they're, you know, going through the same thing. So this is your obligation as a poet. This is your one job as a poet, to speak your truth and your authenticity, whatever stage of healing you're at. So whatever stage of life you're at, someone else is in that same stage as you. So there's a reason why this is called One Globe, One Mic. So thank you for sharing. Up next to the mic, we have Caesar.
Hi, I think that's me.
It is you. Thanks for showing up.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Made it to this one. Happy to be here.
Hi, Caesar.
Um, this is something I've also just finished writing, though I'm pretty sure it's going to go in a different sort of direction. This is called Soul. As the newly appointed legal counsel for the Sun, yes, you heard me right. The Sun, that Sun, the Sol, as his people know him. He's up there somewhere, and my client has a statement he'd like to make to all of you. Yes, he's received all of your letters, your words, centuries, and counting. He is your most avid reader, and he loves the haterade so much. After thorough review of all of the opinions thus far raised, the Sun would like all of you to know, some of you more than others, the Sun is sorry. The Sun is immeasurably, unspeakably sorry. And though that really could touch on any number of things, we can start with the obvious. The Sun is sorry for the unique way that only the Sun can always be entirely too much all of the time. This he knows to be true. But he is too hot for some of you, like sweat from a fever that never breaks, yet is entirely too cold for all of you that have battled winter after winter that were his feelings. He is both all of your expectations laid bare. He has your skin cancers and melanomas and crippling insecurities that everyone else conjured against how utterly beautiful the skin you blossomed into is. And yet somehow he is the overwhelming shadow cast by too much light at once, always on the wrong page and the wrong tempo with everyone. The Sun is aware that there are eggshells all over the kitchen, the living room floor, the bedroom carpet. All over the Milky Way, there are fractured stars twinkling of a second chance no one but him believes in. He was born into this. Such a long, proud lineage of angry suns. The flowers never went hungry, but there was always broken stars all over the floor. Siempre había un sol encabronado en el cielo. Is it any wonder the Sun likes being homeless? watching the rest of you orbit you and yours. Well, he keeps the lights on. The sun knows he is wrong, and he is so very sorry. He is working on it, backwards as hell most days. Yes, he knows, but just the same, it's work, right? An ice skater going uphill makes some progress sometimes. Eventually, the sun hopes this is also true. The sun is aware he makes little to no sense to most. He is the most confused. He is a paradox, bipolar even. The sun has as much bell hooks on his bookshelf as Future on his playlist. He can't tell them apart most days. His generational trauma runs so deep. The days he can tell them apart, he is a walking fucking contradiction. He loves his mama, hates when she calls and blames him for her anxiety. He hates his father. Would love a phone call that's never coming, an endless anxiety that will not leave him alone. Fuck the sun. The sun often says, for being such a free thinker when his mind is an open prison. He used to be a lucid dreamer. Now all of his dreams speak in a language that sounds distinctly like children that won't return his phone calls. The sun appreciates comedic irony so much, he really does. He has to. He has seen the future. No matter how bad he wants to go supernova and darken the lights some days, he knows full well in theory and in practice he will be the last one here to turn out the lights before the rest of you go to sleep. It wasn't always like this. The sun wasn't always like this. The sun remembers a time when he was still human. The sun was a boy once. They called him Icarus, I think. All he ever wanted to do was be in revolution with someone the same way the planets and the moons call home. He made such a mess of his own story, you all get the ending wrong. He didn't shatter against the sea of fucking nobody. He got what he wanted, broke his human against the air, eventually shattered the sky, and he was forced to become the sun. He scared off the one thing he wanted and worked for so hard, so badly she left orbit. And he had to become the only thing that could fill her absence. He was left so directionless. Wouldn't you have done the same if you watched so much of everything leave and never come back because you scared it? The sun remembers a time when he could still remember what he was revolving around, and he is so unapologetically sorry for being so much for so many while getting his orbit right. The sun is sorry for how hard he has made life on all of you. He is still getting used to this dance, this twilight tango. It has its moments. He remains hopeful. He loses faith in man, even as he's falling in love with quantum mechanics. It's ironic, I think. He thinks of his father less and less every day, even as he wonders how many timelines are home to his daughter having a really good day at school. He prays it's a good day in all of them. The sun is finding more reasons to speak softly and carry a big smile, even as the loneliness begins to take on the shape of a moon growing to fill a space no one else should have to suffer. The sun is sorry for everything. Except for the giant ass hole in the ozone layer. Y'all did that shit. Really, real talk, y'all should do something about that hole in the ozone layer, but for what it's worth. The sun wants you to remember he's sorry. And that someone will always leave a light on for you.
Thank you so much, Snapster Caesar. Thank you so much for sharing that vulnerability and that beautiful poem.
Thank you, Caesar. Man, that was.
Yeah, I was like, the sun is a boy. The sun was human. I feel like the sun was definitely human at one point.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be the star in the galaxy.
I love the way that personification worked with that, you know. I mean, it was great.
We all come from the stars and then we become a star. I'd love to know that. You should write more about that with the sun. I want to know his background.
I'm working on it.
It was powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I believe that concludes our list of just open mic audience. So thank you so much. Give yourself a round of applause. Everybody was, yes, Jessica said, thank you, Jessica. Am I missing anybody? If you want to yell at me in the chat and be like, you forgot me, please tell me right now, because we're going to move on to our features. Woo! Up to the mic, he requested to go first. I'm sure people have to head out. So we're going to introduce Jean-Pierre Rueda. Rueda. I think you're saying your last name wrong. But he is a Costa Rican poet and writer currently residing in Compton, California. In 2021, he introduced his first Spanish poetry collection, Jarencias, published by Alegría Publishing. Woo! That's my publisher as well. This exquisite anthology delves into themes of love, family, heritage, and pays homage to significant Latinx figures, portraying them as pillars of artistic and cultural triumph. His latest creation, Amor entre Aguaceros, Love Between Downpours, stands as a bilingual poetry collection. His heartfelt dedication to those compelled to rely on their imagination to reconnect with their homelands when immigration circumstances prevent physical return. Wow, that is so beautiful. I would love to read that book. Thank you so much for being here and for featuring with us on Zoom. Please welcome Jean. Round of applause.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you everyone that shared their work and beautiful poetry, powerful poetry. Thank you, Monica. You're doing an awesome job. And thank you, LA Poet Society, for hosting and creating this planet of poetry, right? So I would like to start with, let's start with something from my second book. It's called Herencias, which means inheritance. And the title of this poem is called I Found Myself Between Cartographers and Poets. I found myself between cartographers and poets, greeting my earliest high school mornings, whenever homesickness would open my rib cage with confessions in Spanish, most often whispered. I travel your meadows of authors and painters, reading someone else's wrinkled prayers in hopes of recognizing my own, mirrored in your lakes of wistful pages. You see, I pluck fruits of eloquence from your crowded bookshelves, drinking their poetry to hide away the loneliness of being a foreigner. I spend nights in Chile, strolling through Neruda's dreams, listening to his roses and moons tucked gently between his cities. I follow Martin Luther King Jr.'s steps right to the top of Washington in 1963, where he dreamed out loud and became his highest expression of freedom. And I fell through the years just to land on Maya Angelou's clouds, which rained love and loss through valleys of perseverance. I memorized your labyrinth of sonnets, history, and philosophy, and I felt your sunlit eyes warming up the ink beneath those literary landscapes. I found a cathedral of love within your walls, outgrowing the hate outside of them, where the world would call me a maldito inmigrante, because my voice was embroidered with my family's accent. But I found myself between rivers of stars, turning my heart into a vessel, whispering songs, translating magic into words like lluvia, familia, herencia, Costa Rica, mamá. I remember those library mornings, breathing in thousands of voices, which sounded like silence to those not reading, and learning how to travel without airplanes or passports, simply by walking with my fingers from title to title. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Of course, you're gonna have more to say because you're a feature, so we hope. Thank you so much for sharing this one poem, but please continue.
Thank you. And that poem was written when I moved from Costa Rica to California. Poetry became the one vehicle I had to really travel back and forth between my country and the new country, right? So that poem is just kind of a glimpse of what it feels like to be an immigrant. And when you're not able to travel back home, what do? Right? So you rely on memories. That's the reason why I write. It's to be able to hold on to those things that mean the world to me, family, and be able to. I have 2 kids, so I want to be able to share those stories with them. The following poem is called "Love at First Verse," And this is for everyone who fell in love with poetry at some point in their life. I didn't know that poetry had lips. I didn't know that poetry was a mirror. I noticed the soul's layers cracking and flaking through the author's experiences like disheveled wood, beaten up by life's ceaseless and searing sun. And I cried, finding rhyme splinter between love and anguish. I read it with barefooted mind, feeling each chronicle rock strewn along its verses, peaks and valleys. I travel the route used by poets to reach continents of contemplation, bled running with someone else's struggle when I discover empathy's taste in each bite my eyes would take from their poems. I learned to dive inwardly through the vulnerability of this art, split opening my heart with the sharpest memory to free my poetry's authenticity and take flight when I recite it. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that was beautiful.
And
Go
so the
ahead.
following, I do want to write, I want to read some in Spanish as well, but I'm gonna do the English version first. This is called, Tell Me, Why Do You Have a Nut in Your Throat? Was it the news on your screen reminding you of life's frailty? Surely it was that morning when parents handed their babies to American soldiers over barbed wire walls in Kabul's airport during Afghanistan's collapse. Or it was that afternoon when dozens of police officers failed Uvalde's students and parents when a coward destroyed lives with a rifle. Maybe it was that night when a little girl cried in Spanish because a stranger with purple gloves fractured her mother's embrace, the one she fell through their immigration odyssey from Honduras to Texas. I can assure you, you aren't crying alone. I am also here with you, photographing history, studying violence's footsteps, muddying myself in catastrophes, tragedies, and their aftermath. I see the young child's face from Syria, covered in civil war's rain of blood, dirt, and dust, sitting in an ambulance, asking himself, whatever happened to the world overflowing with butterflies, music, and laughter? The world where his relatives could hug each other without tears blaring everything away. The same drowned face in Greece's shoreline, a 2-year-old's body, Alan Kurdi, lifeless on the gray sand, his tiny hands rolled as tired fists, his lungs filled with ocean, and the whole world stares at his death as if it was painted by Goya or Kahlo. History makes us both cry, and its fingers squeeze the knot in humanity's throat even more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Woo.
And let's go ahead and
Did you keep time? Okay. I forgot to keep time. So if you have one more, that would be great.
Yeah. And again, thank you guys for creating this and giving me a chance to feature and share my love for poetry with you guys. Let's go ahead and read Love Between Downpours, which is the title of my newest book. I'm gonna do it in Spanish too. Amor entre aguaceros. Cada gotita de cielo flotando en la galaxia de mi parabrisas le sugiere al pensamiento callar para escuchar lo que dice el corazón al encontrarse con la ciudad de Long Beach bañada por aguaceros. Crimson's traffic light feels greenish, and it lasts a few more minutes to keep the little stars from becoming water comets, scratching my windshield's cosmos with tiny streaks of cold rain. My coffee's heat kisses me deeply as I wait, closing my eyes to open them in another life, bringing me back to being 6 years old, viendo los charcos camino a mi escuela en Costa Rica, quebrándose al sentirme corriendo tan rápido que el paraguas de mi mamá no consigue detener el viento, empapado por la lluvia. Veo las paredes de mi aula adornadas por banderas tricolores, white, red, and blue, photographs of volcanoes, rows of mountains and cities, my country's portraits on the topographic map, presenting it as a green steed, neighing between the Pacific and the Atlantic in the American continent's tiny waste. Escucho la voz de mis amigos. I hear my friends' voices, las hazañas de sus primeros grados que huelen al acerrín de la pizarra, thunderstorms soaking trees over my homesickness's grass, and oranges split in half as I have them for lunch en el pupitre de mi infancia. I blink. The red traffic light burned to green ash, forcing me to look at myself in the rear view mirror, revealing some grays in my black hair, and I lowered the windows to let the entire sky inside my car, hoping winter's touch can take me back to those years, even if just for the rainy eternity of a short while. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Appreciate you guys.
much. That was beautiful. I can't wait to purchase your book. We're at the same publishing company, and I'm excited to see what I have in store for that, because I still have to publish my book with them. We'll get multiple copies and all that stuff. But thank you so much. Can we give another round of applause for our feature? Please unmute yourself if you have something to say. He really shared with us his best poetry. Please type in the chat as well if you appreciated his work.
Beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful stuff.
I appreciate it very much.
It was nice.
I thought it was awesome. I'm so inspired. I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes. And I wrote something in the chat a minute ago, but then I was trying to see him, so I went back to it and he erased it. But what I had said was, I remember asking God one time, just angels cry, because I was sitting here with tears in my eyes, and then I was listening to you guys. I said, not only do we speak, and I call all of us angels, and I said, angels do cry, because I'm crying right now. I'm so inspired, and I just want to say thank you, you guys, for sharing your poems. I'm used to our chapter 11 being so inspirational that I get high just listening to them. But even today, you guys have inspired me so much. I am emotional, because to be among people that understands the gift of word and how you can move and explain things in such beautiful and authentic ways, it just inspired me. I came up with different ideas, things I want to write about. I just love it, and I'm so inspired, and I'm so grateful for everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you so much for sharing that. We appreciate the love. Mama Diane, she's just like no other. She's a prophet. She's an oracle. She has something.
I just want to say pura vida, and I would really appreciate when you go back to Costa Rica if you bring back some Costa Rican coffee with you.
Oh.
Yeah, coffee is my water. I don't need water. I just need some nice coffee to start my day, to finish my day, to start a poem, to finish it.
Nice.
So,
Robin hizo cafecito.
yeah. Jean-Pierre, it's my first time seeing you without your suits.
I know. I feel. I know people say, "Oh, you have forearms," because I'm always wearing a suit and a tie.
Yeah.
Pure vulnerability, you know.
the comfort from home, which is always so nice and authentic and real. Not too long ago, Jessica had her little locals running around behind her. Can we see your background again, Jessica? I really loved it.
My background? Oh, yeah, it was birthday.
It just felt like home. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in like my house.
It's all good.
Happy birthday to whoever his birthday it was.
It was.
She had her kids running around. I was like,
yeah,
this is
here. Let me whistle them.
You get to see inside people's homes, and That's very special. I'm blurring my background, sorry. But up to the mic, we have just a dear amiga. She I met her when I went out salsa dancing one night. Hi. And I'm gonna introduce our next feature now. I was out salsa dancing and she was like, I know you. And I was like, oh my gosh, you do? It's hard sometimes to to accept that. And when people are like, oh yeah, I know who you are. So I really appreciated just her seeing me and approaching me and having the courage to do that, and just the love to show, because we all, need that. But she's just a beautiful soul and a beautiful spirit. And Solany Lara, I'm going to do a little introduction about her. She is just finished her book. Hija de mi padre. It's a bilingual poetry collection which explores the emotional complexity associated with the loss of a parent and generational trauma as being a first-generation Mexican American. Her poetry shines light on her healing journey and the resilience that has come from losing her father, who lives on through her pages and her book and her beautiful soul. She was born and raised in Los Angeles. She's a Chicana who is a product of immigrant parents. With hard work and tenacity, she also has carried that on through as an academic interventionalist, as she assists K through 8th students with their literacy development. She loves sharing her love of reading with everyone she encounters and believes that reading can have a profound effect on people's life. She is led to pursue her master's degree in library science at San Jose State University. Wow, congratulations. If she is not studying or writing, you can find her dancing and spending time with her big Mexican familia, which I can relate. So welcome to the mic, Solany Lara. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me as a feature. This actually is my first time sharing my poetry with LA Poet Society and everyone who's been involved with LA Poet Society. So I'm very grateful to be here. I've heard of it and want to get more involved. I'm kind of an introvert by nature, and so whenever people try to get me out, it's even nerve-wracking, making the decision to show up, just because I am very shy, but much more open than what I used to be when I was little. So I'm excited to share my poetry today, and I think it had to do a lot with this book. It's my book called Hija de mi padre, and my father, and just taking the power and being his daughter and really coming to my own light. And so I'm gonna start with a sad one, but it's gonna get better, I promise. This one's called Carcacha para Metal. Ding, clang, boom. I could hear my dad coming from miles away for me at my bus stop. Metal rubbing and hitting against each other as his gray carcachita hit bumps on the road. Ding, clang, boom. The first time he showed us his new unemployment venture, I was embarrassed. But my dad had no shame at all. He was proud of his carcacha because it allowed him to be his own jefe. Ding, clang, boom. He'd work hard, picking up anything metal for miles beyond. He even asked us to help him write pick up metal with his número de cel. Ding, clang, boom. He'd get home exhausted from lifting heavy metal and sometimes all cut up. His body grew tired. in his mind, stress, because he felt he wasn't making enough. Ding, clang, boom. He threw hurtful words at my mom because he could not grow used to her being the breadwinner. Ding, clang, boom. Went a blood clot in his brain. I no longer hear the ding, clang, boom from the metal, but oh, how many times I've wanted to hear it again. So that's the first one. Yeah, it will get better though.
It was nice.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Powerful.
That was.
Thanks so much. And this next one's called The Last Days. Before my dad's last day, I held the darkness in his face because I knew he had so much light to give. Many times, this is what I wish I had done differently. Instead of holding the pitch black, I should have held beams of light towards him, showing him that I took after the name he gave me. Instead, I detracted my light because all I saw was his darkness. When he passed on to the other side, it dawned on me that he was scared of the dark, unaware of how to overcome it. It was too much to bear for someone who was proud of being the man of the house, un machista to no end, who knew no better way to deal with his darkness other than keeping it all to himself. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I was published by Alegria Publishing as well. And so it's nice to be here with Jean-Pierre. But also, I had no idea that Alegria Publishing is going to be publishing your book, Monica. How exciting. Yeah.
I made sure that I was like, there's no other family I'm going to be a part of, you know?
Yay. I'm so excited. Okay. So this next one is called I Choose to Let the River Flow. And this one was inspired by the fact that I finally took power. I think there was like this thing I was holding on to about like not feeling the feelings because during the time that I was grieving my dad. But I've always been a Fiona by nature. But unfortunately, growing up in a Mexican family, they always tell you it's a bad thing, especially a traditional one, to show emotion. But writing this book really made me realize that there's power in letting your tears flow. So I choose to let the river flow. In a culture that chooses not to show emotion, I choose to let my tears flow freely. I choose to let them run their course so there could be light. I choose to teach the next generation that tears do not mean weakness. I choose to show the current generation what could be if you cleanse this way. After the rain comes the shine. It hurts less if you let it all out. It does not need to be done behind closed doors. In doing so, you give space to others to do the same. Men cry too, and probably need it the most. And perhaps allowing the river to flow freely will allow us to flow more easily with one another. Imagine that.
Wow.
Yes.
I think this is the most I've cried out of all the poetry. There's something about your poems that are just so beautifully said and simply put to where you're just immersed. So thank you so much. Do you have one more?
I have, if time allows, two more. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think fine.
Okay. So this one's called Generational Change. Okay. Through the generations in our family, we have accumulated chains holding us back from growing and thriving. These chains have been weighing us down for years without anyone trying to break them apart until I came into this world. I came fighting out of my mother's womb, fighting the restraints that were placed on her. These chains couldn't stand a chance. My cries were heard, my hands reached for dreams, and my mind expanded with new ways to navigate the world. Once the chains broke, no one could keep me small with no room to grow. I have expanded new horizons and now can give new visions of light for those to come. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, you guys. This is such an honor, being amongst so many great poets. I really enjoyed hearing all of you. This last one, let's see, is called, I guess I'll end it with this one because it's a really simple one. Actually, it's two. I think you guys are all doing this. So this is for both of you. I mean, for all of you, both of you, all of you. It's called Written from My Soul. And I think we all do this because we're poets and we write from the soul. It's really a craft that not many have, and it's a gift. And I think we should all see it as that. This pen writes my dreams, my failures, and my triumphs. This pen writes my wrong. This ink exposes the beauty and error. These strokes show the effort and feelings that take over. Each word picked meticulously to convey my story, a story that I hope reaches you. And finally, this one's Spotlight.
Okay.
Spotlight. This is the last one, but also maybe you guys relate to this one because it's, you'll see. Rising to the spotlight feels like standing unclothed in a room full of people. You shine like the muse that you are, yet you're more susceptible to criticism and judgment. You radiate love, yet not everyone's light will be attracted to yours. If only they knew that you aren't in need of their illumination, you are enough to set a whole room ablaze.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. Thank you, Solany.
Took us through all the emotions right now.
You really took us. I'm like, I was like, I gotta go visit my dad. I gotta cry. I have to so beautiful.
Beautiful,
Thank
beautiful.
you. I think that the personal closeness that you brought to us from your father's passing was so beautiful and so vulnerable and something that like I feel like I have yet to even dive into as someone who shares your loss. I lost my mother. So it's such a, you turn into a different person after that happens at a younger age. But thank you so much, Solany. Can we give her another round of applause? And our audience is
Thanks
still
for having
here.
me.
We still have 18 participants. Nobody's left. I'm so happy. Like, thanks for not leaving and being like, I can just walk away. This is how
Good
powerful
job.
it is. Solany Lara, I hope you continue to write and you continue to grow with your writing and give us more books, please, because I know we're in this together. Thank you. Okay, up next to the mic, our next feature. I just met him actually in person at the Resistencia y Amor Poetry Festival that the Latino Theater just put on. The first festival, and was really proud to be a part of that. So thank you so much, Jessica. That was very historic for me, and I need to put that on my resume. But I just want to introduce Robin Rodriguez. He is a very special person who has such beautiful ideas as to like what it means to be a Latino, to be born and raised in New York. Born in New York, raised in Santiago, the Dominican Republic. So that's a special treat for us. We never have Dominicans out here in Los Angeles. He's a financial advisor by day, but he has his MFA in creative writing and fiction and poetry. So best of both worlds. He's a poet, a novelist, and an interior designer and a musician. So tapped into everything as we should. We should all be. If you want to do something, do it. But very inspiring. Also has his own space that I'll just let you introduce it, Robin, because I can't only say so much about your space. It's your vision. So please welcome to the mic, Robin Rodriguez.
Thank you so much, Monica. Thank you everyone as well for being here. This is honestly inspiring. I'm ready to write some more poetry after this. I'm gonna have a glass of wine first and foremost, because I just drove from San Diego and got stuck in traffic. And after this, have a glass of wine, read my poetry books, and get inspired to write poetry, especially after hearing all this amazing poetry from all of you. So I want you guys to congratulate yourselves if you haven't done so already. You guys are all beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your vulnerability. Vulnerability is strength and power, and never allow anyone else to dim your light. Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you again. That last week on Saturday was super inspiring. Right next to my place, I felt like you were a vecina. where I can just go and like ask for sugar when I'm out of sugar, or like ask for coffee when I'm out of coffee, ask for pancakes on a Sunday. So thank you so much. And again, thank you, Monica, for doing this, for hosting. This was so beautiful. I honestly don't even know where to begin. I have so much to say and very little paper.
What's your place called, and where can we find you on Instagram? Also, before you, sorry, I don't need to interrupt you, but features, please put your Instagram in the chat so people can follow you. Thank you. And also, please introduce your space. Give us a peek.
Yeah, so what you're seeing right now is my space. If I want to say, if you're a poet and you call yourselves a poet, you are also, FYI, an interior designer. Okay? Because poetry, I learned this afterwards, with poetry, you're telling your story. Interior designing is just like you just telling your story. Okay. Where do I even start? Honestly, poetry found me early on as a kid. I can't stress that enough. Born in New York City. Luckily, I'm so grateful for my parents raising me and my siblings in the Dominican Republic as a kid. And just imagine growing up there. If you've been there already, it is literally paradise. I don't just say that because I'm from there, but growing up there during my formidable years, I still remember it as if it was yesterday. And one of my most fondest memories, and this is for me where I found poetry. I always say I didn't find poetry. Poetry found me. Is where my neighbors, strangers, friends, family would come to my parents' home unannounced. And I know that that's not a cultural thing here in America. You better call, you better text before you show up to someone's home unannounced. But over there, we greeted everyone with open arms. And I still hold that to this day. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing today, which I'll talk more in a second about it. But I remember my mom making coffee, my dad putting on a vinyl record to these random strangers. And then that turned into some kind of party. And then we would take a spontaneous road trip to a local river or a turquoise ocean or a waterfall or the greenest mountains you've ever saw. And then my dad would always have musicians around him. And I always remember that as a kid, because I think that that's for me where I found poetry, and that's for me where I found love. Because love is accepting not only yourself where you're at, but others. And as I got older, I lost contact with that foundation. Growing up in New York City, you know, growing up as an immigrant kid. Well, technically not an immigrant because I was born in New York, but being raised in my native country, and you'll see that in my poetry in a second. You know, we go through those challenges of not being accepted in America, being from a different country, whether it's because of your skin, whether it's because through your language. And because of all the assimilation, because of all the bullying, because of all the abuse, because of all the racism, you tend to lose yourself as a kid. And over the years, I lost myself, you know? And it wasn't until 2015 that I was like, excuse my French, fuck it. I quit my job, and I always had this burning desire to travel around the world, but specifically Latin America, because I wanted it to know other Latin countries, being from Dominican Republic, and just wanted to know other cultures. I've always loved accents. I've always loved people. I've always loved other people's stories. And so I just started traveling. I had my own eat, love, pray moments, essentially. And I started traveling around Latin America and specifically with the goal of volunteering. So for example, in 2015, I volunteered in Ecuador with street children, what this program called street children, because they didn't have homes, and basically reading poetry, showing them how to write poetry, just teaching artistic things, and continue to volunteer throughout Latin America. A volcano erupted in Guatemala. I felt like I wanted to help out there. But I noticed something very interesting during my travels, is that no matter where I went to around the world, whether it was Europe or Latin America, I did not find spaces or homes. And look around you right now as I see your homes currently. I did not find spaces or homes that truly represented who we were. From art to poetry to music down to the food. I can maybe in the 2-3 years that I had just traveling, I did not find a space that truly represented African Americans, Latino, Latina, immigrant culture. And that was very interesting to me, because for me, as a traveler of Dominican descent, I wanted that. I wanted to find spaces, homes that represented who we were. And so I met this beautiful, basically Peruvian, amazing, and today, look her up. And I get goosebumps every time I think about this, because she was recently featured on Latina Forbes in Latin America. So look her up. Her name is Ale Endara. I can type it on the message here. I met her in Peru. She hosted me. She welcomed me basically as a solo traveler, open arms, and said, come and stay in my home. She didn't know me. She was just like, come and stay. This is what I'm doing. I'm opening up my home and this was kind of like of course, you guys know Airbnb. This is kind of like where Airbnb wasn't even popular really. And she literally reinvigorated all those memories that I had as a kid growing up in the Dominican Republic, which is just a few of the experiences that I shared with you guys today. And as I started sharing her about my home and my dreams and these visions that I was having of wanting to open up my home, and then seeing her take me in, she was just like, Robin, open up your house. to people. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that. And so in 2015, I started doing that, and I honestly have never looked back. And that brings me into wanting this vision that I'm actually instilling and incorporating right now, fulfilling. I get I'm just thinking about this because if you were gonna tell me years ago that I would have became an interior designer, I would have looked at you guys like you were crazy. But I have this vision of wanting to create a home away from home for my community in a way that feels authentic, in a way that feels artistic, in a way where, for me, because poetry and music is my first love, using poetry to design homes, which is super interesting. And I can talk to you guys about that for hours, but I just want you guys to understand. And I say all of that to know that all of you, I can't stress this enough, all of you have a home away from home, right? Mi casa es tu casa, as they say in Latin America. And I use my home for so I host poetry nights. I host private dining. I host intimate music shows. And I actually recently hosted this wonderful Oaxacan lady. She actually flew down from Oaxaca. We hosted a textile class for people that were interested in wanting to learn how to make traditional indigenous Zapotec textiles in my space. And that was just like I wanted to cry because all of the visions that I had during my travels is like coming into fruition. And then I had this theory that I want to do this basically not only in LA, because I think LA needs it, especially in the city of transplants, but across America and across Latin America. So I actually designed a very similar space in Washington, D.C., using poetry as an anchor. And I told my client, who is a very dear friend of mine over there too, and I told him this idea and this vision. I was like, Victor, let me design this space that truly represents our culture. I hope I don't sound judgmental when I say this, but not in a tacky or gimmicky way, but in a very authentic and stylistic, where people feel the love. Because what I want is for people, when they come into our communities, to know that they're going to stay in a home that represents who we are instead of the other way around. So I told them that, and I did it. I designed it in 3 days. Like, I didn't even know I had a talent for design. So life is funny in that way. But now everyone in DC is loving it. And it's just like an affirmation for me that not only here in LA is happening, not only in DC, but this is a vision that God is calling me to do, to continue creating homes away from home for our communities. So I just wanted to end it there. And I think you'll, hopefully you'll resonate with the poetry that I have, because it ties in a lot to preserving where I come from and being vulnerable in that sense. And also, if I may say, never, ever, ever, to every poet here, to everyone, never, ever not believe in yourself. You guys have so much artistic talent and are so powerful with your spoken word that it literally changes someone's life. And when you act from that authentic self, the universe literally falls in your favor. So with that, I'm going to announce my first poem, which is titled In Honor of Celia Cruz, the popular Cuban salsa singer. My English is not very good looking.
Love her. Woo, thank you so much.
I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Monica, before I started there, but you let me know if you want.
No, you need to start your poetry, sir. We got really warmed up for your introduction, so thank you for that. But yes, we're excited to hear your poems, and we appreciate you sharing the background of like your poetry as well.
Thank you, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this poem. It's called, again, My English is not very good looking. Fresh off the boat, a campesino, a hick, un haitiano, I was called for not being able to speak English. These names were meant to be derogatory, but I found this to be strange. Why would they assume those names would belittle my existence? It did not. The fisherman who sits on his boat in the clear and sunny day inherits patience from the ocean. Patience, he knows, is required for his food, for a flower to bloom, for the waves to come and go, for the light to shine on a full moon, for peace with everything unresolved in his heart. Nature is his language. And so he hears the echo of his voice through his beauty and silence, and thoughts dissipate when nature envelops him like a rose. The solitude becomes a rose garden, and no matter how distant he is away from shore, the solitary petals that grow from his heart is for you and for me, so that we too can learn to be alone and get rid of the misery within ourselves. For when we cross paths, we can speak and sing in a different accent or dialect without fear or remorse or rebuttal, break bread and wine in one table and listen to the language of nature and food and song in love with the flower, the moon, and the wave of it all. The campesino, although born poor, holds miracles in his hands by gifting us with the seeds of spring's devotion and sprouts love on our lips in autumn. The hic is the nostalgia of bachata blasting out of car windows. Barefoot is how they stay rooted with the earth. Music is their language, their proclamation to life's victory, such a symphony to be a starry child of song. The Haitiano, common brother, relentless freedom fighter of color, unafraid of the sun, as skin that touches light becomes pregnant with sky. It's a divine right to be here, their language say. Have you listened to theirs? There's a melody in their song that reclaims justice. I may have wandered far from where I come from, but here I am reclaiming my name and my song for me and for you, because life does not haunt us when we harness the power from within. All flowers bloom in the light, and my duty as a poet is to disseminate beauty. Yes, I am fresh off the boat, the campesino, the hic, the haitiano. Proud is my origin. And you, who are you? Tell me, where do you come from? How deep is your ocean? Which color do you paint your horizons with? What seeds have you planted in your heart? When you dig deep into it, do you hear the song of your roots? What is the language your soul sings? Can you see yourself in another's song? If what you find is not love's generosity, but an unending cup of darkness, tell me, what is the size of the shadow that was casted onto the sun of your heart? Who blinded your soul with bitterness? Who lied to you? Who told you you're not good enough? Who taught you to hate? Tell me who. I want their names. I want their masks. I want to burn it in the fire, raise the spring wind of blooming leaves to sweep away their ashes of misery and the thorns of hate that kept them in winter's embrace for too long will be no more with your revived garden of translucence. Hate can be like a polluted river that never reaches the ocean, rotting in silence until a hollow cry awakens the snake that slept hidden in the well of your soul and poisons your blood drip by drip, drip, drop, drip, drop. Can you hear death approaching too soon? Life already leaves us with scars that never heal. We already fight battles from a war within. What is the sense in fighting with another? If hate has lost your voice, pick up the instrument you always wanted to play. For you too are melody, and all melodies mirror the beauty of language in us.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Thank you. I'm not very good looking.
My English is
My
not
English is not very good looking. Sorry, my bad.
exactly.
That was very beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. And I have one more. These two are the longest poems. And this one is titled Caribeña. This is for me. This is how I remember my mom and all the Caribbean women from the Caribbean. And it's titled Caribeña. Give me 1 second. Okay. Caribeña. Caribeña, the past was not gentle with you. Men's greed for gold forced you to broken bones. Their insatiable thirst for sugar condemned you to impoverished labor, and the danger of discrimination wrapped you in the spider's web, accustoming you to suffering with clenched teeth through worn-out shoes and blood. But when you sang, you became song and broke free with melodies that filled the void in your soul. And now, when night splits open with thunder, and the cold chill of death knocks on your modest home, you welcome the drop of instant rain, slipping through the cracks of your wounds, not drowning in mourning, but spreading your arms wide open as if receiving a message from up high, filling up the flowing fountain of your heart, using water to wash away your pain, your plantains, your clothes, your crowned head of sweet fruits, your skin made of caramel. No sorrow can keep you below of what you deserve. A happy day, sunshine, coffee in the mornings, unconditional love from within, dancing between struggle and hope. As you dust off dirt from your sandals with laughter, the vibrancy of joy blooms from your plum lips, revealing your innate wholeness. Like hummingbird wings suspended in air, separating light from darkness is not your way with the world. Unison is the garden you cultivate, a fluttering miracle of flowers rooted from your feet, raising light, water, and kindness from the soil to create a rhythm of harmony in yourself and in others. Yes, you give love's sacred gift away, not material possessions, property, or precious stones, but disseminating happiness without wanting anything in return, whistling on your walks notes out of the blue, life's simplicity, a luminescence undimmed by grief, breaking open the cocoons of burned out hearts, lifting them up to your tropical branches of love until they're a deluge of butterflies emerging above. Your love is never a burden. I see those that arrive on the island still in search of splendor, to walk the incessant white sand with naked feet, or navigate the serene sea through sun and moon, unaware when land or wave sails them to you, hearing your celestial song of Caribeña. A stillness penetrates their sadness, softening their agony, awakened, witnessing you nourishing space with the grace of your leafy heart, communicating with the seas of the earth, your collection of dreams made visible by stars and lilies. They celebrate you. You appear incandescent as a flower, as if a plant's leaf that reflect the sun's radiance onto the watcher. You shine like magnolias in spring, leaping into flight near the celestial fire that germinates the fullness of leaves onto you, firmly grounded in the blossom nativity of your roots, petal by petal, born into color, your legacy fulfilled, perfumed vessel of a sugarcane field, green goddess, divine healing, orange kiss of the earth. Your garden matures into an aurora, holding living light. Speak lovingly or be gone, your gaze commands. There is no more room here for suffering. With your word, they obey. With your song, they sing. With your dance, they learn to step around blossoms. From town to home, forest to rivers, waterfalls to turquoise sea that do their dreams, and finally to a hammock that unleashes their sorrows without worry of returning home to their anxiety of rush, rents, and mortgages. They're growing old with unfulfilled purpose. They're snowy chapters of steel buildings, living divided with walls that prepare wars. But you, mother of roots, you do not run away from your thorns. Without them, one cannot open the heart. Among the soothing shores of silence, the laments of each wave, perfect petal of heaven, no one knows their path until they're purified, but you do. I ask of you then, harvest your seeds on a clear night and bring the moon closer so each dying soul can surrender to the natural beauty of love. That's it.
Thank you so much, Robin. That was so beautiful. To remember our mothers in that way is like, wow, she must have been poetry in motion. Thank you so much, Robin, for sharing and also sharing your story and your home even in the smallest angle. But I've been inside, it's gorgeous. So he hosts open mics at his place as well. So please follow him. You can put his Instagram in the chat, and he's always looking for people to be at these open mics in a very intimate way, because there's just so much space in his place as well. So just shoot him a DM and inquire. But thank you so much, Robin. That was beautiful. And that concludes the features. So thank you, everyone. We still have, some person left, 17 participants that are listening. And so I appreciate everybody who stayed and tuned in and just showed support, because that is just as important. It's kind of like dancing. Like sometimes I go out dancing salsa or bachata, and I just like, I just want to watch. I just want to watch the inspiration and the moves, and you're a part of it in that way too, even if you don't, speak or go on the mic or go up to dance. I'm gonna actually share a poem if that's okay with everybody. From my book, Wisdom Looks Good on Her. It explores self-love, familia, heartache, and love, and everything in between. So I think I'll share something that is close to my heart. This is called, and if you grew up in a big Mexican family or a big Latino family or a big Black family, you know that your sister was like doing your hair at one point. Yes, I think we all know. So this is just a memory of my sister, who basically dressed me and took care of me in ways where my mother couldn't, because I'm also just the youngest of 8 children. So there was a lot of people who, anyway, this is called My Sister's Hand. My little legs dangle on the fur-covered porcelain throne. I am instructed to not move my head. I sigh and ask, "Are we done yet?" "Yes," my sister says, "just 5 more minutes." But I don't mind, because I am with her and she is styling my hair. My thick brown hair, my crown I don't care too much for, or the weight it'll eventually carry. For now, my sister brushes it for nice occasions. Her job, not mine. My hair, the one I run hose water through on hot summer days from running too much in the sun that melts through me. My hair, the one that has a weird hairline, so we put bangs on it. My sister says, "Why can't I find the perfect part line?" Yet she folds my hair to one side, uncovers a perfect line amongst the weeds and the tangles, a path to my pretty, to the lineage where I will one day be a part, to the lineage where I will one day part off on my own. And remember how to use the hands that will braid trails of my own. I sigh, but it's no rush. We do not rush the master, my sister's hands, as they weave in and out all around, pull and tug, careful not to say ouch. Hot iron smell, burnt hair, mousse sticks to my forehead. I wonder what's going on up there, but I know my sister's hands are meant for making things look pretty because mama is too tired, too busy. I love my sister's hands that holds the weight of my hair as she's almost done, but I don't mind because I am with her, and soon I will look pretty as a princess, pretty like her crown of hair. And this is us. Wait, you can't really see it because of this is my sister and this is me. We were at Disneyland. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming and tuning into our mic. This concludes everything. We actually went overtime. I thought we would be under time, but this is amazing. And I'm so happy that you guys joined in and tuned in. And it's going to be
Good job.
ever now. Thank you, Carlos.
Wonderful.
Never go under time in poetry.
Absolutely wonderful.
Love you guys.
Good job to everybody, man.
Love you
Thank
too.
you. If you want to put your Instagram in the chat, please do, because I'm going to close this Zoom and it's going to disappear. So let's, share each other's information, connect. If you like each other's poetry, let the person know.
That was an awesome poem. It reminded me
Yeah,
also
everybody
my
got
sister.
down. Everybody got
Yeah. That's when my sister curled my hair, burned my ear though, but she did do
Oh,
my
she did that all the time. I was like, bitch, can you watch it? I was such a princess. I like knew when to zip my lip because they could have just been like, do your own hair, but they were nice.
You guys use hot combs too?
We didn't have hot, but we just had hot curlers.
Curlers. Okay.
No, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's the same.
I was telling my sister to get hot combs, but I didn't know you guys had hot combs because she just straighten her hair.
No,
You know what I'm talking about, Diane.
Yeah, that's when she said it. I was confused for a second, but then I remembered.
Yeah.
She said, "Did you burn my ear?"
Thanks
I
for
said,
this.
that's a poem right there. Did you burn my ear?
I
That's
put
a
a link in
poem.
the chat there for y'all. We were live streaming, so that link is the forever link to see this show again and share your clip, and also to subscribe to the Los Angeles Poet Society's YouTube.
Where's the link?
Yes, thank you, Los Angeles Poet
I put it
Society.
in the chat, but I'll put it again.
Yes, Jessica is the founder of the Los Angeles Poet Society, who, she asked me to host this mic, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think it turned out okay. So it was an honor. And thank you, Los Angeles Poet Society.
Los Angeles Poet Society.
Jessica is.
Oh, he's opening the YouTube. It's okay. It's just our feedback from the YouTube.
Host this mic, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, that's weird. Okay, well, everybody have a good night, and hope to see you.
Can we get a group picture?
Take care, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you for the features. Bye.
Good night, poets.
Bye.
Let me get
Have a great night, everyone.
Smile. Or who's left? Smile.
I got a photo. Jess.
Yay. Excellent. Great job.
Thank you. Jessica, I want to talk to you because Robin wants to meet up with you and we want to talk with you, so we'll talk.
Perfect.
Bye, everybody.
We'll talk.
Love you, family.
Love you
Thank
too.
You did a great job. You did a great job, Monica.
Thank you, Carlos. I mean so much.
Yeah, great job.
I try to be as authentic as I can, but I'm like, okay, I don't want to look crazy.
That was good.
You didn't look crazy. You didn't look crazy.
I'm crazy though. I had to put on I'm the host mask.
You got through it.
Well, you didn't show you're crazy tonight.
Well, it's gonna pop out more and more.
Love you guys.